Hello everybody, welcome today. My name is Tracy Campbell and you may know me from my page, My Sweet Home Living. I'm also guesting today on a friends of mine, a page called Days Gone By Vintage Market. So excited that they extended the invitation for me to come join you all today. We are streaming in multiple places today, so let me know where you are watching from, and I can see comments from both pages today. So excited to see you and see new friends. Now, I have one camera that's a little bit farther away than the other, so this will just be an experiment and see how it goes today. Hello, Miss Teresa. Hey, Miss Jenny and Sonia, Miss Jennifer. Hello, Miss Sheila. How are you? Miss Jill is watching. I can see friends from both my page, My Sweet Home Living, and from Days Gone By Vintage Market. So excited to have you all here today. Listen, I have a fun, I feel like I always say that, but it's true. I wouldn't be crafting if it wasn't fun, right? I have a fun fall DIY for you today. Hey, Miss Stephanie and Marie. Hey, Miss Jill. We're going to be making some primitive style cinnamon dough pumpkins. Now, it's maybe slightly similar to something we've tried before with our pantry tarts. The word left me for a second. My pantry tarts. Now let me show you. I do have a pantry tart right here that I can grab. My pantry tarts are quite dried out. I need to freshen them up. But this is just a hard, sort of like a cinnamon, sort of like a salt dough. If you've ever worked with salt dough, it's very similar in nature. Hey, Miss Diana. Hey, Miss Sheila. Miss Teresa. So it's very similar to that, okay? But it's a little bit, just a few ingredients different, but it's still easy peasy. And it's taking something that you already have and probably in your kitchen and just turning it into something that you can use for fall decor. Now, if you stick around to the end, I'm also going to be showing you how to put these sweet little cinnamon dough pumpkins together in a little vignette, giving you some decorating ideas on how to use them in your home. Okay, let's see who's here. Miss Cheryl, how are you? Hey, Miss Chicken Pickens. Hello, Miss Cindy. Now, here's the ingredients that you're going to need. I told you this is going to be easy peasy. I mean, right? We don't do anything too complicated around here. I like to keep it simple for you guys here. So, here you go. You may want to take a screenshot. Okay? There you go. Half a cup of cinnamon, a cup of applesauce, and a third of a cup of white school glue. Okay, hey Miss Glenda, how are you? Miss Tia, your first live here. Well, welcome. Big warm welcome to you. So excited to have you here. We have lots of new friends, and if you haven't heard, on my page, My Sweet Home Living, we hit the big 50,000 this weekend. We had lots of milestones this weekend, but that was the big one, and lots of new friends. And so thank you, Philip and Joy, for having me over today on your page. So excited to be. I feel like I'm still friends with you guys, even though we've never met in person. I still feel like I'm friends with you guys because I just feel like I just know that your hearts are so sweet and so genuine, and I just appreciate you opening the invitation. And they were also one of our Market Day sellers in my most recent Vintage and Thrifted DIY Market Day Marathon. So I know you guys are friends and familiar with them. If you watched that online marathon, then you are familiar with my friends Joy and Philip from Days Gone By. All right, you guys, let's hop to it. I have a glass mixing bowl because I thought it would be fun that you can actually see through the bowl as I'm mixing this together. And I'm just, word of the advice here, just don't get anything expensive for this mixture. Cheap. Cheap as it goes. Thank you, Miss Philly. Thank you, Miss Roseanne, for sprinkling us out. Miss Laura. Hello, Miss Barbara and Margie. Thank you all for hopping on. Okay, now, a cup and a half of cinnamon. Holy smokes, you guys. That's a lot of cinnamon. Well, that's why I said go cheap and don't get anything super expensive, because really the cheap cinnamon is going to be just, well, there's barely anything in that one. I'm just going to go ahead and dump that in. That was just what was left over out of one that I have. Get the cheapest, like from the Dollar Tree, wherever that you can find it cheap, get it. All right. You're going to need a cup and a half. Now, I have not made this particular recipe. This particular recipe came from a page that I actually stumbled upon as I was on Pinterest. And there's several different variations of it. I have never attempted this actual recipe that calls for school glue. So we're giving it a try today. We're going to see how it works. Hey, Miss Deborah. Hey, Miss Nancy and Deborah. We got several Deborahs on. Hello, Miss Donna. It's going to be really interesting. Thank you, Miss Pat. All right, so 1.5 cups. We're going all in. You know this girl likes her cinnamon. Okay, so this did not give me any measurements on it whatsoever. This is the dollar store, Dollar General. This is a 2.37 ounce, and it doesn't even quite give me a cup. So there's a little bit of reference for you if you're getting some from the Dollar General. Now, I already had a little bit left over in that one container that I poured in there a second ago, so that would probably make up my cup. So I'm going to call that good. All right, now we need 1/2 cup more. 1/2 cup more. Now feel free to add other spices if you want to add nutmeg, clove, or if you can find like apple pie spice or pumpkin pie spice really cheap. I don't know about you guys, but pumpkin pie spice around my neck of the woods costs an arm and a leg. It's ridiculous. So I don't get pumpkin pie spice very often. Now, there was a local grocery store around me that had pumpkin pie spice really cheap one year, and I did get it, and I mixed it in with some things. I think I mixed it in with some of my pantry tarts one year, and I didn't really, honestly, I couldn't really tell a big difference. So, go with what you got, okay, what you can get your hands on. So we got 1.5 cups of cinnamon in there. All right, let's throw these cinnamon bottles. You guys, like, if you could see my table, I've got pumpkin pie spice everywhere, all over the table today. Not pumpkin pie spice, cinnamon. Sorry, my head's in pumpkin pie spice land. All right, we're going to need 1 cup of applesauce. Unsweetened applesauce it is. Now, I was last minute Lucy today, and I did not have any unsweetened applesauce, so I had to run to the Dollar General, which is, everybody's got Dollar General in your neck of the woods, right? Hey, Miss Loretta, how are you from Virginia? Hello, Miss Janice and Wendy. You can make your own pumpkin pie spice. Yes, you're right. Pumpkin pie spice is just it's a mixture. It's of different spices, so you could definitely make your own. But I was just trying to think something to kind of make it easy, but definitely make your own to go cheaper. Now, I had to get these sweet little cups of unsweetened applesauce because my dollar store didn't have like the big jar containers of it. So I'm thinking this is probably like 1/3 cup. We're going to see. I need a full cup. Yeah, that's probably 1/2 cup. So there you go for reference there. If you're in the same boat as I am and just using what you got. Go for unsweetened applesauce. We don't want the sweetened because we do not need that extra sugar in there, okay? Because these are actually going to be something that you're going to use for your decor. And cinnamon is a natural insect repellent, so there you go with that. I'm not going to put that little spatula in that applesauce just yet, I don't think. Actually, I could use that spoon, actually. Got kitchen utensils out on the crafting table today, you guys. All right, we're just gonna, it took 2 of those little applesauce cups to make a cup, if that makes sense. So 2 of these little snack size applesauce cups is what you need to make a full cup. I did the measuring for you. And then we need 1/3 cup of school glue, okay? This is a new recipe for me. I have not tried this before. I have, however, kind of done a little bit of research, and I have worked with a very similar recipe from, like I said, for my pantry tarts. And I do know that you want this on the thick side, okay? You're going to think that it's like super dry. Hence the reason I've already taken all my jewelry off my hands. My rings are not on because you're going to be getting your hands into this probably more than likely. And you're going to knead it, sort of like bread dough, okay? Hey, Miss Tony and Heather. Oh, quite a few Dollar Generals. Yes, there are Dollar Generals everywhere around here, you guys. All right, 1/3 cup. I had to make sure that I had the right measuring cup in front of me. I'm going strictly by this recipe, and we're going to see what it turns out like. I said that we were going to go strictly by the recipe, but I might add a touch of vanilla. Might add a touch of vanilla to it. We'll see. Okay. And we're going to get that school glue out of there. Now, you didn't know you were coming to watch baking class today, did you? Back in home ec days. Hey, Miss Janice. How much cinnamon? Okay, let me give you. How much cinnamon? I got you. Okay, making sure I read your question right. There you go. If you want to screenshot that, that'll be what you need. All right. Woohoo, my fingers are in the way. A cup of cinnamon, or a cup and a half of cinnamon, a cup of applesauce, and a third of a cup of white glue. All right, we're streaming on 2 cameras today, you guys. We are streaming in 2 places today, so I've got 2 cameras working and rolling here. Ooh, got glue on me already. That's okay. We're going to get a little messy. All right, so I've got those 3 ingredients in. Let's get to mixing and see what happens. Let's see what happens. Now, it's going to be a little powdery because you got that cinnamon. And like I said, we want it to be thick. We are making primitive style cinnamon dough pumpkin bowl fillers today. I'm going to give you some ideas on how to put these together in a beautiful little decorated vignette using some vintage items. You guys know, if you're familiar with me, I love decorating with vintage items. Hence the reason why I host the Vintage and Thrifted DIY and Market Day Marathon. That's just where my heart is. I love things that are primitive and rustic, vintage, antique. If it's not old, I like to make it look old. Hello, Miss Jeannie. Hello, Miss Angie. Miss Susan. What did I miss something? Oh, you didn't. Let's see. I must have missed something. Y'all are maybe chuckling in the comments over here on one camera. Hey, Miss Mary Ann. All right, it's getting thick. You guys can see what it's looking like, right? Pretty clumpy. Trying to think of what it might resemble to compare. You know what it looks like? It looks like chocolate, like dark chocolate ice cream that has not melted yet. You know, that's still like you've just kind of scooped out. That's what it looks like to me. All right, I have mixed it together, and honestly, I think it's probably a little bit more wet than honestly probably what I've been reading about it should be. A lot of people recommended you want it really dry. Okay, I gotta give it a sniff. It smells pretty good. It smells pretty good. That's what we got right there. See that? All right. Now, I was thinking about adding a little bit of vanilla. I think I'm gonna. Just a little bit, and then I'm gonna add a little bit more cinnamon because it's a little bit. You know what else I could add? I could add some instant coffee crystals. And I don't have those on my table today. That's all right. We'll just add some more cinnamon. Now, these pumpkins, they're primitive style, right? So they're not going to be like your bright orange, typical like bright orange pumpkin, because they're primitive style. And you all know that I've told you primitive style colors are very earthy, okay? Very, lots of browns, blacks, deep tones, okay, if you will. Think of colors that you would find in nature. A lot of times that's kind of, I don't know, that's the best way I really know how to explain it. Vintage colors. If you think of vintage colors, they're kind of grungy and vintage in shade. I don't really know how else to explain it. All right. So I think that looks pretty good now because I know it's getting a little crumblier. It's drying. Okay, so I think this would be work. You need to let them dry. Yes, you will. You could paint them. Yes, I think the paint might hide some of your scent though if you do that. Okay, so we're going all in. Oh, wait, before I do that, let me get a little sheet of. I'm going to get a sheet of like parchment paper, wax paper, whatever you got. You can put these in a very low heat oven. Piece of dough flew out of there. Low heat oven to dry. Or you could let them air dry, okay? Or you could use a little bit of both. You could put them in the oven for just a short amount of time and then, let them finish air drying, okay? However it makes it easier for you. If you put them in the oven, I would go at like 150-ish, maybe 200, and check on them, you know, pretty often, pretty frequently, because they can tend to burn on the bottom, okay? So we're gonna go all in. If you want pumpkins that are all exactly the same size, you might want to use like an ice cream scoop or like a measuring cup, you know, to make your little pumpkin shapes. I'm not getting hung up on that today. Hey, Miss Carol. Hey, Miss Jeannie. Hey, Miss Linda and June. How are you guys? All right. So this is the first time for me to do this. Okay. Now, for me, I want to go a little bit bigger. So this recipe, you're going to see, we're going to work this out, and you're going to see how many pumpkins I can make. And then you can adjust the recipe according to what you want. You can double it, triple it, whatever you need. Okay? Hey, Miss Leslie. Yes, works right with cookie cutters. You're right, Miss Dana. I bet, yes. Make cinnamon dough Christmas ornaments. Yes, exactly. It's very similar to salt dough, only it's not quite as stiff as salt dough is, okay? Okay. I kind of like it like that. I still feel like it needs a little more substance. Like, I don't know if I need to add more cinnamon or what, but this is the first time I've made this recipe, so we're giving it a whirl. We're giving it a whirl today. You missed the first, what makes it dark? It's the cinnamon, Marianne. Yes, cinnamon, applesauce, and skull glue is all we got in here. That's it. 3 ingredients. Okay, before we do that, you're gonna want some stems. And I have a grapevine wreath, and you know, grapevine wreaths have these beautiful little curlicues. I'm gonna see, I don't know if you can see that anywhere. The little curlicues, and these are perfect for little pumpkin stems, especially these little dainty pumpkins that we're making today. These little dainty pumpkin bowl fillers, if you will. And they're not only gonna look adorable, but they are gonna smell absolutely amazing. I should have brought my wire cutters today over to the table, but I did not do that. That would have made too much sense, right? Can't think of everything. I was pulling everything out of the kitchen today, and yeah, you know, things that I don't normally have to use at the craft table, I was bringing over, and I thought, do I have everything? Do I have everything? I knew I would forget something. Okay, now this is just going to be, I may have to call for reinforcements here in a second. I may have to call for one of my kiddos. My goodness, this grapevine wreath is definitely not too dry, or it would just break apart, right? Well, goodness. Okay, here we go. Now we're getting somewhere. I just had to get in there, get it going. Now, we're going to break this off. And we're going to get some of these really cute little curly cues too. My scissors aren't quite sharp enough for these. Yeah, these little curly cues it is. Okay, that'll do for now. And then I can always pull more off later, but I don't want to make you all stand through that. All right, roll it into a little ball, okay? Now what I would do is I would go ahead and stick your stem in before you put it in the oven, okay? Because once you start putting it in the oven, it's going to dry, and then you're not going to be, it's going to be hard. It's going to start hardening once you put it in the oven, and you're not going to be able to get those little stems in, okay? Now, that's what you have so far, all right? Almost looks like a little apple. All right, so where'd my little toothpick go? Toothpick, I got more. All right. You're going to take something with like a straight edge. You could even take like the straight edge of a stick and do this as well. But you're going to take it and you're going to roll it down the sides. Okay, I'm going to give you a close-up view here in just a second. This is just, these are primitive. Keep that in mind. This is not everyone's cup of tea when it comes to style, okay? So I just want to give you an idea, and you can take it and run with it and make it your own. If you wanted to make these out of regular salt dough and paint them afterwards, you definitely could do that, okay? Lots of options on how you could make them your own. All right, so that's what I have right now. Give you a close-up view over here on this camera. There we go. Now, if you want to, you can kind of squat them down, make them a little squatting pumpkin, if you will. But just go with it. All right? Don't fuss with it. You know, primitive is very organic and not too fluffy and foo-foo-ish, right? Very simple in nature. All right? So there's one. Let's see how many pumpkins we can get out of this mix. And I can tell you, I have fans going and it's already drying this dough out some. So there's another tip for you. Okay, if it's too moist, you might let it sit a little bit and it's already starting to thicken up. So that's good. Now you can make these any size you want. If you want to go larger, I'll give you a tip on what I do for my pantry tarts. Get some aluminum foil. Roll up a ball of aluminum foil and then use this dough on the outside as a coating on the aluminum foil. Okay, what that does is it makes it, there's less dough there that needs to dry if you do that. Okay, and so you can go bigger without using more dough. All right, you can stretch your dough a little bit farther, and you could even do that on the cinnamon, on these shorter, smaller pumpkins as well. I just kind of wanted to follow the recipe today to see how it would work out. I still have a few little wrinkles in this dough, so I'm trying to smooth out those wrinkles before I shape it. But you could even make a little ball of aluminum foil to put this dough around, and that would save your dough, make your dough go farther, and it would also help them dry faster. Okay, this little stick. Ooh, this grapevine is super tough, you guys. I would have picked the toughest grapevine wreath I have in the house. Okay, stick those little curlicues in. Now, by putting this in the oven, these stems are really small, and so they're going to be just fine. They're not going to catch on fire. If you keep your oven at like 150, you're going to be fine. Now, I wouldn't go much warmer than that, though. And like I said, you want to keep a check on it. I'm using the side of this toothpick to make the little ridges of my pumpkin. And these, you guys, you could set a bowl of these in your kitchen. You could set a bowl of these by your entryway, on an entryway table. And it's going to give your home that warm, subtle smell of fall. And give your guests that warm, cozy welcome. There we go. There we go. Okay. These, when they dry, they will lighten up. They won't be nearly as dark. Okay. And like I said, you can even sprinkle them with a little bit of cinnamon if you want to kind of give them a little bit more of an orangey appearance, if that's what you want. Okay. I think we're going to get 4 pumpkins out of this, which will work nicely in the little wooden dough bowl that I have, that I'm going to show you guys here in a little bit, that I'm going to put these in. Now, not all pumpkins are the same shape and size, so change them up a little bit if you want. Make some a little taller, smaller, bigger, whatever, right? Give them character. Okay. Stick that stem, stick this little curlicue in. That's a big curlicue. That's all right. Let's cut that down a little bit. That's a little too extreme. That flew across the table. Okay. Now, this is a perfect kid-friendly project, you guys. They are not going to hurt a thing with this. They are going to have fun. And they're going to get messy, but just spread out some paper on the kitchen counter or at the kitchen bar, counter or table, and just let them have a heyday with this, you guys. That give them some pumpkin-shaped cookie cutters. Let them make some little ornaments for your fall Christmas or fall trees. I almost said fall Christmas trees. Just let them go crazy with this. This is super easy. Okay, I might be able to squeeze 5 into this. That would be good because I like decorating with odd numbers. Is anybody else like that? Hey, Miss Tiffany. Hey, Miss Lisa, Shelly, Connie, Dodie. How are you guys? Yeah, we're going to get 5 out of this, which is good. Okay, now just roll it up. Roll it up. Somebody sent stars. Thank you so much. Hey, Miss Jeanette, popping in while you're on break. Thank you so much. So glad you're here. Hope you're having a good day. All right, let's get another little stem here. All right. I love little projects like this that you can just add whatever you have around the house. Now you could just pull out some sticks that you have in the yard. And applesauce, cinnamon, and glue. I bet many of you already have those ingredients in your kitchen or in your house. Hopefully you probably don't have glue in your kitchen, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. There we go. There's number 4. And then let's whip this last little bit. So that recipe that I showed you at the beginning, I'll show you again here in just a minute. I have it written down so you can just screenshot it. Will give you 5 small pumpkins. So if you want more than that, you can double it. Now, if you are a crafter and you do craft shows, you do craft festivals and fairs, or if you sell crafts online, this would be an amazing small little package that you could put together just as a quick grab. Someone's coming through your craft booth. This would be something that would capture their interest. You could price these relatively inexpensively because they're only costing you a few pennies to make a batch. Okay. Depending on where you get your glue and cinnamon and applesauce, you could really price those really inexpensively, and that would be something to grab them. And not to mention, they're perfect. I mean, I know a lot of people maybe, they like the smell of fall, but they might not necessarily like the idea of lighting a candle. So this is something that they can add that fall smell to their home without lighting a candle. So, a lot of people take that idea and run with it as well. But these are great projects to make and sell. Okay. All right, my little toothpick. Gonna make those little ridges. These would be adorable packaged together in like a little plastic, little cellophane bag. And you could sell them online pretty easy too. Okay, there you go. All right, now I'm just going to put them on parchment paper, and then I would put them in a 150-degree oven. There's that toothpick that I was looking for a while ago, right under my bowl there. I'm going to put that in your oven, okay, and let those dry. Now, you're going to want to clean your hands. I did not bring any baby wipes to the table today. So I'm just going to rub this off. You guys, we flew through that. We still have 15 minutes to go. Be careful around pets. Yes. These would be adorable. You could actually, instead of, in addition to the stems, you could also put in a little wire hanger, or after they have dried and hardened up, you could tie a little jute string onto the stem and use these as little ornaments on if any of you have fall trees. Okay. I don't know if any of you are like me, but a lot of times if I want to do like a tree for another holiday, I don't want to spend a lot of money on decorations. You could really go all out with these and not spend a lot of money. You can make a lot of these and let your grandkids help. And so they can get a lot done in very little time. Okay, now the next thing, I'm going to slide these over for a minute. I'm going to show you the vintage items that I'm going to put together to make a cute little vignette with this. Oh, I want to show you the recipe one more time. Here you go. 1/2 cup of cinnamon. I'm sorry, I had 1.5 cups of cinnamon. I keep saying that wrong. 1 cup of applesauce and 1/3 cup of white school glue. Hey, Miss Vivian. Hey, Debbie. Hey, Miss Anna. Hey, Ruth. All right. There you go. And go cheap. Go cheap. They're very primitive in style, okay? Now, I will tell you, if you make these this year and you pull them back out next year and they look like my pantry tart does right here on the bottom, you need to freshen them up. And this is how I freshen them up, and I need to do this today. I pull out my jar of coffee grunge. If you all have seen me use coffee grunge before, it's a mixture. It's a mixture. It's a a cup of hot water. My words are like all running together today. A cup of hot water, a half a cup of instant coffee crystals, 2 tablespoons of cinnamon, and 2 tablespoons of vanilla, okay? Put that all together in a jar, shake it up, and what I would do, I take just a old chippy brush or something and brush it over my tarts, okay? And while it's still damp with that mixture, I'll sprinkle it with a little bit of cinnamon, okay? And then just set it on a pan just like this and just let it air dry, all right? And then just take a look at it and see what it looks like after it dries. If it's still a little bit dry, you might have to apply some more of the coffee grunge. The coffee grunge is going to soak into it and give it that dark, deep, rich color again. Now this still smells amazing. These are my pantry tarts, and I have the recipe for this, and I don't have it with me today, but it's very similar to the cinnamon dough. But it does not use school glue or applesauce. So it uses salt, cinnamon, and maybe flour. Excuse me. And it's very similar in nature. But you dry this in the oven and it hardens, okay? And these are like little primitive bowl fillers. I like to put them in little mini cast irons. My Dollar General has these little mini cast iron pans, and I love these. I'll brush it with my coffee grunge and sprinkle it with cinnamon, kind of give it that rusty, worn look. And let's see, how did you make the tarts? I do have a video on how to make the tarts on my page, My Sweet Home Living. If you go to my video library, you may have to scroll down quite a bit, but all of my videos are labeled. Find the one that says Primitive Pantry Tarts. And if you can't find it, send me a message, and I'll be happy to share the link with you, okay? Mine desperately need to be freshened up. I'm almost embarrassed to show these. But I like using these and staging them in these little cast iron little pans like this, using it with a vintage kitchen scale or things like that. Hey, Miss Beth, oh my gosh, I'm telling you, my brain and my mouth are just not jiving today whatsoever. Oh gosh, y'all ever have those days? It's definitely a Monday. Okay, so let me show you what my idea is today with this. Let me show you my vintage pieces that I'm going to be using. So hang tight. All right, I have, anybody know what this is? My face, yeah, this is all dry, so don't worry, it's not going to get on me. My face is tickly. That grapevine left a mess on my table. Can't talk to save my life today. All right, I'm clearing off some room here. You all know that I love putting together vignettes to give you all decorating ideas, and so that's what I wanted to do today while we're together here. I've got just this really cute little basic primitive style little I think it's just a dish towel. I don't use it as a dish towel. I use it for decor. Let me get this stuff out of the way. Cinnamon and grapevine crumbles here. Okay, I'm just going to have it folded in half. Okay, I have it folded in half. I'm just going to stretch it across just like that. Okay, then I'm going to take an ice bucket, a firkin. You're right, Miss Brenda. Yes, you're right. I'll grab this from my friend Chassida at Custom Southern Co. She will occasionally have vintage auctions as well, but I know Miss Joy and Mr. Phillip have vintage pieces that you can grab during their live sales as well, sometimes when they are live. But if you see something like this and you're thinking, what can I do with it? I put little mini Christmas trees in this. I have put florals in this. I've put dried flowers. Sometimes during the summer, I'll even put a big canning jar down in the center and then put my flowers, like fresh flowers in it, and use it that way. You could use it just to store odds and ends if you really wanted to. It's too pretty, I think, for something like that. Thank you, Miss Rosa. How are you? Hey, Miss Marianne. Yes, Susan, how are you? All right, so I'm putting that there. And I have, let me show you. I have, oh my gosh, bittersweet, some bittersweet. Now these are not real bittersweet. These are just fake florals, but let me show you. I have two different versions of this. This is some new that I wanted to try. Excuse me, so I'm going to open this up. Maybe it's really loud. I'm going to open this up and kind of look at it. It's a little bit darker than the faux bittersweet that I already have. But I kind of like the color of it. Now, it's been bagged up, so you got to kind of fluff it, right? But bittersweet is supposed to be kind of... Bittersweet is something that you can find in nature, of course. But it's used a lot with primitive style fall decorating. Now, I would have to shorten my leaves, but I'm not crazy about the color of that right now with this combination. So I'm going to use the bittersweet that I already have. These little bittersweet stems, I don't even remember where I grabbed these. I don't, Philip and Joy might have some bittersweet. You may ask them if they have some faux bittersweet. But they almost look like little pumpkin pods, or those little, kind of like little putka pods, if you see those. But these are fake, okay? These are fake stems, so you could use this year after year. And then in the middle of this, I have a couple of stems from Hobby Lobby. From their, they're just little picks and sprays. These, to me, remind me of, like, I don't know, like some goldenrod or something like that. I don't know. It just kind of matches with my little color scheme of mustards and golds with that touch of orange. So I have 2 stems of that wrapped up with 2 stems of the bittersweet, okay? And I'm just going to pop it. Aren't they, Cynthia? They're the cutest little things. And I've kind of rolled this up. So if I ever change my mind, I might need the stems really long. So you see what I do. I just take the long stems and I just bend them and twirl them until I get it in the right shape, and then plop it right in. Right in. Just like so. And there you go. That's so easy and simple to do. Now, what I think is really cool is when you put one of those little candle lamps next to this at nighttime. I mean, it just makes this orange and the gold just glow. That warm fall glow that I just love. Just love. Okay. Now, this bittersweet has these little wispy wired little tendrils that just flow everywhere. And so you kind of got to twist them and turn them wherever you want them to go, right? All right. Couple other vintage pieces. We're just using this vintage grater, cheese grater. It's hard to see from the front, from the back, I mean. You all can see it from the front, but I cannot, excuse me. Now, I have this little primitive little style jelly jar. You guys, I've made these on a live a bazillion times, but I still get questions about these all the time. I want to show you. Real quick, these are just little yogurt jars. If you go to your grocery store, there is a brand of Yoplait yogurt that comes in glass jars. And my kids ate these for a while. And so what I did is I took used tea bag papers, stamped them, and just decoupaged them onto that little jar. Added some little cheesecloth, and then put a little twisty tie of homespun black and tan checked fabric on there. Okay, and I'm just going to put that right there kind of in the center. Now, when I do my vignettes, I kind of like to stair step it. You know, start high and then work your way down into little steps. So this would be my tall. Then I step down to the grater, and then I'm stepping down even lower for this little jelly jar. And then the last item that I'm going to put, this is not true vintage, but it looks like it could be a vintage primitive little dough bowl, bread bowl. This is what I'm going to put my little primitive pumpkins in. Now this, I might have to put this kind of over to the side. I can't tell from my angle. I'm not really able to see it a whole lot. Now down in my bread bowl, I am going to put some little dried putka pods. Okay. Now you can find these in lots of places, and depending on where you find them, you all don't get disgusted by my cinnamon dough hands. They can come in different color variations. Now these have not been dyed, so they're all still natural colored. Okay, if you want to dye them, you can add a little bit of maybe a little bit of watered down acrylic paint to them. Okay, you can also scent them with a little bit of like candle oil, like oil that you would use to scent soaps or candles with. Okay, and these are so dry. Really, I should have done this in the bag before I poured them in the bowl. But you would pour a few drops of this in the bag with these putka pods in it, pour a few drops of it, and then kind of mix them up, and then you could pour them into your bowl, okay? If you don't want the scent to kind of permeate your wooden bowl, if you're using a wooden bowl, because this stuff can be a little strong. Now, I have worked with this scented oil, and it's not super, super strong, and I'm okay with the smell. Even if it gets in my bowl, I'm okay with that, so I'm going to go ahead, put a few drops of that in here. It's kind of hard to get out. And then I need a little stick or something to stir that around. I don't want to use my hands. I have a little part of my grapevine wreath here. I can use that as a little stir stick. Stir that around, and that right there alone is going to be super dreamy smelling, okay? That's a pumpkin spice scented oil that I grabbed at Hobby Lobby in their candle making section. That one is stuck right on there. Okay. All right. Now, once you get your little primitive pumpkins all dry, you've let them bake, you've let them dry, they're going to be hard, okay? Now, mine are not hard yet, but they're going to be super little primitive little style pumpkins, and they're going to kind of mesh right in there, just like so. Now, you can nestle them down. I'm kind of being gentle with mine because, like I said, mine are still a little bit damp, and they can still get mixed up, okay? Messed up, I should say. But there you go. I'm going to stop right there. I'm going to stop with 3. That looks cute right there. And primitive. Now you could tie this off with a little string of cheesecloth or like homespun. That would be really cute, and a little tie. I'm looking at my table to see if I have my cheesecloth handy. I don't think I do. That would be really cute. Just tie a ring of cheesecloth around it, make a little knot at the top, and put a little tie on there. It says Happy Fall or whatever. How cute is that? All together right there. You've got a cute little vignette. You could set this on a shelf. This would be adorable on a coffee table, an island, a kitchen island. You could use this even as a centerpiece on your fall table. All right? Hopefully this has given you guys some fun ideas on things that you can make out of things that you can pull out of your kitchen. So thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you so much for the stars. I know several of you have sent stars. Thank you so much. I appreciate you so much. And until next time, I'll see you soon. Bye, guys.